The wait is finally over. It's time for a first look at the brand new Perth Museum in one of Scotland's most important cities, telling the story of Perth itself and the surrounding area of Perthshire, the heart of Scotland. There's a lot to get through inside, so without further ado, let's go have a look. You can find a new Perth Museum on St John Street, in the heart of the old city of Perth. It's a local museum telling the story of Perthshire and Kinross from the earliest days to modern times. But it also has exhibits of national significance, and I'm going to show you around a few of them. We begin our journey with a brief stop in Neolithic Perthshire. That's around 6,000 to 4,500 years ago. These animal skulls, most of now extinct species, are pretty straightforward, but we do have a more mysterious link to these early ancestors. Stone balls, intricately carved for some unknown purpose, maybe just created to baffle archaeologists of the future. Jumping forward to the Bronze Age, this logboat is one of my absolute favourite things in Perth Museum. Right by the door, you really can't miss it. It's 3,000 years old, carved from a single enormous oak tree, and was found in the River Tay just outside Perth. It shows how important the river has always been to this area, and you can easily imagine the hands that carved it and the people who once used it. They may even have used it to drop things like these bronze swords into the river, seemingly left as an offering to some unknown deity. Perthshire stands out during the Pictish period. From the time the Romans left around 300 AD to the forming of the Kingdom of Scotland in the 800s. This was a centre of power for the Picts, and so it's no surprise there are plenty of iconic Pictish carved stones here. This one shows a naked warrior, carrying spear and club. Nearby, the 8th century St Mado's cross slab is lit up to show how it may once have been brightly coloured. My favourite Pictish stone is this one, with a fish and a common double disc symbol on one side, but Ogham writing on the edge. This old Irish alphabet contains an as yet untranslated message. That's not the only stone carving in Perth Museum that raises a few questions though. There's actually important speeches going on right now, but I really want to fire this catapult at that wall. The coming of Christianity changed Scotland. These Celtic bells were symbols of the early church. However, things got far more volatile in the 1500s with the Scottish Reformation and this man, John Knox. His fiery sermon in Perth in 1559 resulted in an angry mob ransacking St John's Church, and it was an important turning point in the Reformation. Here you can find Knox's walking cane and a candlestick that some say stopped a bullet meant to kill the preacher. Don't think that Perth Museum is just for stuffy history nerds like me. There's plenty of interactive spots for kids like this archery game, and as a big kid at heart, I was pretty happy with my score. This is one of the highlights of the museum. A sword given to Bonnie Prince Charlie by James Drummond, the Duke of Perth, and it was made here in the city. It's not the only weapon on show. There are arrowheads and axes displayed from the time when Perth had an important royal castle, fiercely fought over during the Wars of Independence. Heading upstairs, you jump forward in time to a more modern period with penny farthing bicycles, music clubs, St Johnstone football, and an Egyptian sarcophagus from a 1959 movie set. Perthshire is known for its nature, and that's obvious on the upper floor of the museum. With birds hanging from the lights and a tableau of stuffed animals set in front of mighty Schiehallion, including the elusive Capper Caillie. It's also salmon fishing country, and this huge 29 kilo specimen was caught by Georgina Ballantyne in 1922 on the Tay. This is just a cast, since the original was gifted to feed staff and patients at the local hospital. Now, you may or may not already know that the unicorn is Scotland's national animal, and the Perth Museum has an exhibition all about it to tell you why. Running until September 2024, the special unicorn exhibition tells the story of why James I picked this creature to be Scotland's national animal. It was believed to be the most powerful beast in the world, and only a strong king could capture one. They could never be tamed though, so they're often shown with a chain around their neck. Their horn was thought to purify water and cure poison, so narwhal tusks were often sold at high prices to unsuspecting nobles, then ground into powder or fixed into jewellery like this. If you needed proof that unicorns are real, well, here are 3 books from the 11 and 1200s describing them. I've been saving the best bit of Perth Museum until last. A visit to the Stone of Destiny, otherwise known as the Stone of Scone. It's free to see, but you will need to book a timed entry ticket to make sure you get in. Legend says that this stone was Jacob's pillow from the Bible, and it made its way to Scotland via Ireland and the kings of Dalriada. When Kenneth MacAlpin united the Dalriadans in the west and the Picts in the east, he brought the stone to Scone. It's said that every king of Scots between then and John Balliol in 1292 sat on this very stone during their coronation. It was then stolen by Edward of England in 1296 and held in Westminster for the next 700 years. Well, apart from a brief return to Scotland when some Glasgow University students carried out a daring heist in 1950. Kept in Edinburgh Castle since 1996, it's fitting to finally see it back in Perthshire where it belongs. I hope you've enjoyed this quick tour of the new Perth Museum and that you've been inspired to visit and see it for yourself. Hopefully, I'll see you next time. Sláinte.